It was in 1937. My family was sharecroppers. And that year, our entire crop was taken for a $65 debt. And I knew nothing about law, but somehow in my 10-year-old mind, I felt that a lawyer could stop this. What happened to my family inspired me to become a lawyer, and I've dedicated my life to making sure that legal counsel was available to those who, like my family at that time, had no legal counsel. Lawyers are ministers of the law. It is not something that's a privilege for those who can afford it. It's something that's a right of those who are citizens of this country.
There's still a lot of pride in people, no matter how much money they have. There are people who have every reason to want to give up because they've dealt with so many challenges, but yet they continue to push forward and they continue to stand for their rights and they continue to hope that the law will be there to protect them as well.
People who are working all day, every day, and a second job, who can't possibly afford to hire a lawyer at $400 an hour, who still have their share and more of the legal issues. That's our client.
One of the most powerful things that can happen to a lawyer is to see from start to finish what the challenge is that the person is facing, and whatever the circumstances, your training and your actions and your abilities can transform that. You can fix that.
We as lawyers have to make sure that the Lady of Justice is not peeking from under that blindfold to see who is standing before her.
We have this history that started in 1924, and in 1924, the guy who founded Atlanta Legal Aid, Smythe Gambrell, founded it because he wanted to protect veterans coming back from World War I against what was called salary buying. Now it's called payday lending.
Smythe was president of the state bar. He was president of the American Bar Association. He was a very gregarious, very capable lawyer. He got members of the organized bar involved with legal aid at a very early point in time. And I don't think legal aid would be what it is today without the support of the Atlanta Bar.
There are so many law firms in town who helped found this organization, and those law firms still support us. It's so exciting for us to turn 100 years old this year. It says a lot about the program that we have not only endured for that long, but that we have been successful and served so many clients for that time. Because it's not just making the century mark, it's what we've been able to do to help our community. In recent years, we've served almost 21,000 clients. We now have so many different programs. We have over 154 staff and 5 main offices, as well as our offices that we have in the children's hospitals and now in Grady Hospital. One of the things that sets legal aid apart, I believe, is in being innovative and creative and responsive to the needs of the client community.
Mr. Hawkins' case is a classic example of what we call predatory mortgage lending. The process is often initiated with a home improvement company offering to fix the home of an elderly person who has lower income and hasn't been able to fix their house for a while. An expert that we called in said it was worth $7,000. They charged $13,700. He doesn't have the cash to pay for the home improvement work, so they arranged a mortgage loan. And he could not make the payments. One day he called me and said he couldn't buy food. They can foreclose on his house, sell it out from under him, buy it at the foreclosure sale, and pay off the mortgage. And that's what they do. They can do more with a pen and paper than a thief can do with a loaded gun.
They just went right to work for me. They stepped in there and got me out of bondage. They really worked on my case, and they kept at it. They stuck with me like chewing gum, and they're still sticking.
There's a big problem when a person has some cognitive limitations and ends up in a hospital. they tend to get a psychiatric label. She was in restraints, seclusion, forced medication, held down.
Make you feel like you're gonna die.
When I was in the hospital, I felt like I was in a little box. I was stuck.
Atlanta Legal Aid filed suit in federal court on behalf of Lois Curtis and Elaine Wilson. The Olmstead case made it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. The High Court ruled that states are required to place persons with mental disabilities in a community setting, rather than a mental institution.
She has really come into her own, being happy, being an artist, having her artwork on exhibits. I've seen her really flourish.
I love my home. If you have the right professional help and a lawyer, you can make it.
We try to put ourselves in the shoes of our clients. You may be the first person who's ever actually listened to them and heard them out. The power of that is really amazing. One of the efforts that we are involved in is to do a robust strategic plan so that we can look at the entire program, looking at where are the needs of the future. Are we seeing a particular increase in a certain kind of issue, and how do we get ahead of that? We have such an amazing track record, and we've done all this great work for years, but that's not what you should support. You should support what we're going to do in the future.
I grew up in the South, and at the time when I was in my early teens, there still was separate water fountains. If there is no faith in the system, the legal system, that there is no faith in getting wrongs redressed, it's a severe blow.
Everyone in this office goes above and beyond to really serve their clients in the best way possible. People here take care of each other.
We have this sort of existential idea that you got to fight injustice. What is often way more important to you is how you've helped one individual client.
There's no better use of my law degree than to do what I'm doing here day in and day out. I love walking into court and being underestimated, which happens frequently, and then being successful and getting an amazing result for my client.
Legal aid represents the best of my profession. Legal aid, quite simply, does justice.